I'll just edit out all of the bullshit that we spout beforehand.
Alright, cool. So I pressed record. Right as you said that.
And that's it. That's the beginning.
There we go. That's the show. I hope you liked it.
And that's the end of the show. We're gone. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
I hope that you missed us as much as we missed you.
We missed you so much all the time.
Basically, like, ever since we...
I love all 13 of you.
But basically ever since we stopped recording, like, every day it's been like, okay, so when are we gonna start doing the podcast again? Maybe we'll do it. We'll start next week. And it's just not happened.
Exactly. It just does not go like that.
But if this does happen to be the first episode that you're listening to, my name is Nick.
I'm Alex.
I'm Alex. And this is Ice Cream Parasocial, a podcast where we just kind of bullshit all day long.
We do things that are fun for us, and you can hang out if you want to at the Ice Cream Parasocial.
It's a party where everybody is invited unless you're like an asshole.
I guess technically you can still come and like hang out at the back, but nobody's going to talk to you.
Just like the skinhead quote unquote punks, like, you can come to the punk show. You're gonna get your ass rocked.
Exactly.
But like
Exactly.
It's like, you can come, you can listen to the podcast. You're not gonna have a great time.
Yeah. Oh, you might want to pull back from the mic a little bit.
Okay.
Alright, cool.
Am I still like real fucking loud?
Yeah.
I'm always so loud. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. It's really funny because when we were doing our tongue twisters, you were like at a pretty like solid volume, and then for some reason you were just like very excited to be here, and I was just like, oh no. I'm glad I am monitoring.
I am. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about all of the scary shit that has happened.
Yeah.
Since we've been gone.
Exactly. Without you. Since we've been gone. That's not how it goes. I'm just trying to make it work.
But yeah, because it's just been like a lot of the reason why we've been gone for so long is just trying to figure out how the fuck to come back. And now it's October, it's spooky season, and I can't hold it in anymore.
Exactly.
So,
like demons in the night. We've been summoned, like demons at a preteen girl's slumber party. We have been summoned by the spirit of the season to haunt all of your ears.
So we're back and talking about spooky shit, and hopefully over the next couple episodes we'll be able to get you caught up. But I think this will basically do it.
Exactly. Hopefully. At least enough to make people worried about us. So
worried enough to get us the money.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. Also, apologies going forward, like now and in the future, if there's weird noises in the background. We do live in a van.
Yeah.
So sometimes there's just going to be weird sounds, and if it's egregious, then it'll be cut out. But sometimes there's just going to be spooky noises, and that's just thematic. We're creating an atmosphere. And honestly, you know, it's good sound engineering. We're innovators.
Yeah, because I looked it up just the other day, in the last episode that we actually aired was the Fiverr episode about like buying stuff for the van on Fiverr.
That's right.
So, since then we have moved into the van. Some things have happened. We've moved into another van. We'll talk about that shit in a minute.
Oh yeah.
And I had top surgery. I don't have tits anymore, so that's fucking incredible.
Oh yeah.
And then a lot of scary shit happened.
Oh yeah.
And we're gonna
both before and after that.
Both before and after that. We're gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
So, I guess to start, I want to talk about like the serious, scary shit. You know, this is a comedy podcast, but it's also real. Um, the like serious, scary shit that has happened is like the multiple murders that have happened over the last couple months of people that are doing van life and traveling, and I wanted to get that out there of like,
Yeah, to acknowledge that we're talking about, fun stuff like little scrapes that we've got into and out of,
mm-hmm,
that, for the most part, we weren't really in danger, or like if we were, then it's fine. But that some people like aren't fortunate enough to not have to face real danger, and that this is like a scary life path for some people
mm-hmm,
and genuinely dangerous, and that there are some things going on right now that are genuinely scary and not in the fun way, and that it felt kind of weird to do like a fun spooky stories episode without acknowledging that there is like a genuine like kind of specter hanging over
mm-hmm,
the community right now, especially since there are some kind of again not fun ghouls
mm-hmm.
taking advantage of it for profit. And I wanted to acknowledge that and be like, well, that's not what we're doing. We don't intend on doing that kind of like, oh, this is our fun kind of true crime, but it's someone's real active life
Right.
kind of thing.
Yeah, like the what we're gonna talk about are by no means like the scariest things that could happen to you
Oh
when you
yeah.
fucking live in a car.
Oh yeah.
Um, but just some stories that we've collected since being on the road and on previous road trips, even.
Mm-hmm.
Just to get in a little spooky mood, but first we had to get in a
Yeah.
little sad mood.
Yeah, this is our stories are kind of like the children's museum haunted house
Yeah,
version of
exactly.
things that can happen. But yeah, it's worth throwing it out there that there's stuff going on that is genuinely frightening and upsetting. And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you want to talk about how our first van, Dave, had
Oh my
his
god.
fucking horn start going off at the sleep study?
Jesus Christ, Dave.
God damn it, Dave!
God damn it, Dave. It's
May
so
he rest
funny.
in peace.
May he rest in peace. It's so funny because I feel like for a certain amount of time, like after Dave, there was this sort of like, and we aren't even these types of people in the context of human beings,
Mm-hmm.
but when it came to Dave, I feel like we were like, "Oh, we have to have respect for the dead." But
Yeah.
now we're kind of to this point of like, God damn it, Dave. Like in the thing that Nick is referencing is I had a sleep study done, just like a home sleep study where you like take the equipment home, then you go and return it. And when we went to the sleep lab to return the equipment, um, we were in Dave, and Dave, his horn had never worked before.
Not once.
Not once.
I had tried to honk at people that like were being assholes on the road.
Right.
I don't honk often. I don't get road rage. I get like joke road rage,
Mm-hmm.
but like I don't get like actual road rage. But you know, like sometimes you need to honk at people. Like if the light
Right.
turned green and they're not paying attention, just be like, "Hey, bud,
What's up?
you're not fucking paying attention. Eyes on the road." And like I had tried to do that and just nothing.
Just nothing.
And then I
And
started him up so that we could leave after dropping it off, after dropping off the like home kit. And all of a sudden, like something happened, and he was just,
oh my god, repeated honk over and over again. Just he got possessed by something, like something got knocked loose, he got possessed by a demon. I don't know what was going on, but he just decided to honk repeatedly. Again, mind you, in the parking lot of a sleep lab, which is in the same parking lot with Kaiser Permanente. The way that they do things is that they have like kind of all of their doctors and everything in one place most of the time. So it's also in the parking lot of a hospital during a pandemic where people are very stressed out and not having a very good time, and there's like security guards everywhere, and they come over, they're just like, hey, what what's going on? Hey man, why are you doing this? We're just like, I don't know.
I know, when they pulled up, I feel like my face turned so fucking red it turned purple.
Oh my god, yeah.
Because it was just like, the only way to get him to stop, like, just fucking laying on the horn was to grab the steering wheel and pull it towards you.
Yeah.
And,
like a reverse honk.
yeah. And so, like, I was sitting there, like, holding the steering wheel, like, pulling it with all my might towards me and trying to, like, think. And then all of a sudden, these fucking, like, not cops, but like cop-looking dudes come up, and like
Right.
I have
What's
to like
going on?
hold on to the steering wheel with one arm and like pull it towards me and do the like manual roll down of the window. Because mind
Yep.
you, Dave was a 1972 Chevy.
Yep.
Nothing automatic on this motherfucker. So
Like about as old as, if not older than, my mom.
yeah. And so I'm like, I roll the window down and I'm like, you good? I'm like, no, I don't know what the hell is going on.
I'm having a bad time. We had to do the research on like how to disconnect the horn relay,
Yeah.
because otherwise it's like you can't just drive down the highway like that.
Right.
Like we were still in the apartment at the time, and so it was like we were, I don't know, like 30 or 40 minutes away from home,
If that.
if that. And it was just like, it's just total nightmare scenario. Like, oh my god, the sensory overload was off the charts. We were about to go get lunch, so it was just like,
Yeah, so we were also like starving.
yeah, total
I forgot
nightmare.
about that part.
Thanks, Dave. Love it, Dave.
Yeah, because like I had to like hold the steering wheel, and then like I had to get you over to and show you how to hold the steering wheel to get it to stop so I could get out and disconnect the battery so that we could actually think.
Yeah.
Oh, and we wonder why he died
Right?
like a month later.
I know. Like,
Which
he
was
was
its own-
telling us it was time.
He was trying so hard.
He was trying.
But yeah, so like a week in to us moving into Dave, which sounds weird, but
Oh my god.
we're at a rest stop.
The morning of my job interview for a job that I have now.
Yeah, so this story has a happy ending
Yeah.
eventually.
It worked out.
But we're at a rest stop, and we've only been in Dave for like a week or so. It's the morning of an interview. The rest stop doesn't have very good cell signal, so we're like, oh, okay, there's a McDonald's that's like 10 minutes away. We're gonna drive over there, and you can either like use their Wi-Fi so that you can do your interview, or use cell whatever. There will be better cell signal there at least, and we, as soon as I turn him on, he's like a lot more like shaky and just like cranky than usual, and I was just like, okay, well, like, it's whatever. Like, sometimes he takes a minute to warm up, and
Right. Like sometimes, like Dave was always a little bit, as like vets say sometimes, like ADR. Like he's always a little ain't doing right.
oh yeah,
You know? So it wasn't even necessarily like a problem that that people would be like, oh yeah, I shouldn't drive this. Like I feel like
Right.
people generally would like hop into Dave, like if you were just a random person, and be like, No. No, like he had like the roughest idol in like the world, and you'd
Yeah.
have to sit there for like 20 minutes and just be like, all right, I guess we can go now. And so it's like it was a little worse than usual, but it was like, maybe it's just cold. I don't know.
Right. And I was just like, we just have to drive like 10 minutes. Like, I just need to, like, get us to a spot where we can, get this interview done, taken care of. And we get on the highway, and the, like, rattling just gets worse and worse and worse. And then he starts smoking.
Yeah, and just vibrating like hard,
Yeah, like, shaking.
like shaking, like bump, 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 bump,
Yeah.
bump.
And, like, once the smoke starts, I'm like, oh, well, fuck.
Uh-oh.
And we like pull off to the side, like the shoulder of the highway, and I'm like looking and I'm trying to fucking figure out what the hell is going on. And I think that at this point you had either emailed or been like, yeah, I'm gonna email them and cancel because something ain't right.
Something ain't right.
And I don't know why, but I decided that we would be able to make it to the McDonald's, and we did, but
But
it was a shit show the whole time.
God, what a nightmare.
And then you got to have the experience of like getting him taken to the mechanic, and the mechanic coming back out and being like, I need you to come see this.
Yeah. Ah, God. Just being like, well, so your options are I could either have a request sent to Washington to have like a new engine built because they don't make these anymore because his engine had thrown a rod and just like destroyed itself.
Yeah.
Or, we could just see what's going on in like a salvage yard or whatever and see if we could just find one. It's not super likely, but we could try it. And it's gonna cost like X number of dollars. It was just more than we'd bought him for. I think it was like upwards of like $5,000.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty easy decision at that point, with all the things that I've told you so far. For us, pardon, for us to be like, what if we looked for a new van?
Yeah. And so we got I don't know what the word is.
Hotel room?
Yeah, I guess we got a hotel room. I was looking for like we got a blank at a hotel, but like a room at a hotel.
Yeah.
Dumbass.
No, it was a hard time. I
Yeah,
understand.
and so we like got a hotel room and just like spent all day for like a week
Yeah.
just looking for a van anywhere, and that's how we met our new van, Rhonda.
And she is perfect, and I love her so much.
She is perfect except for these stories that we're about to tell.
Listen, after what we've been through. Oh,
She didn't.
Lord.
She hasn't killed herself on the side of the highway yet.
Exactly.
So at least
That-
there's that.
We do have that.
And I do want to put out there though that like it hasn't just been like our old vans like doing all this bullshit and like being super scary. Like my 2010 Prius was pretty scary too.
Yeah.
On our road trip to when we moved to Oregon and like packed up everything into my little Prius. My poor little Prius.
That poor little Prius.
Because we had been planning to move to Portland, Oregon, but we were planning on going in like May.
Mm-hmm.
Alex got a job, and they wanted you there at like March.
Yeah.
So in March,
February.
February.
Yeah.
In February, we packed everything up and drove cross country, and February is when it fucking snows.
February is a bad time to drive cross country.
Mm-hmm. It's awful. Don't do it.
Yeah.
I guess unless you go through the south, but like
Right.
not through the north, not Indiana to Oregon, dog.
Right. It was a bad idea.
And like there was this one point where one part of the highway got closed, and so we went to turn around and go a different way, and the way that the GPS told us to go was up this like, God, I want to say that it was like an 80-degree hill.
Right.
And for some reason, I was just like, yeah, no, we can make this. It can do it. We get like halfway up the hill and the Prius just starts going backwards.
Oh, God.
And we just slid all the way back down the hill. I thought you were gonna fucking die.
I thought I was gonna fucking die. Like, I don't know what it is. I've never been in like a serious car accident. But for some reason I've just grown up like with this like I just get scared in cars all the time. I tell Nick sometimes that he should be grateful that I'm not the way that I was when I was a small child, because I remember, like, I'm so glad that my mom didn't just throw me out of the car, because I remember one time we were going on vacation to, like, Gatlinburg or something, and we were driving through the, like, mountains in Tennessee, and we had, like, a cabin or something, and it was, like, on top of a mountain, and we were driving up the mountain, and I was scared shitless, and so I just screamed relentlessly, just full volume, like full lung screams, and she was just like, I can't think if you're screaming. We are more likely to get in an accident if you're just screaming the whole time. And I do not, like, that's, even if I had, you know, anything that would enable me to have children, I would have it removed again. Just thinking about that. But
just quickly Google searching, can I get my uterus removed twice?
Oh God, just to be sure, because
can I go to another doctor to make sure?
To make sure that it's not in there.
Oh shit.
Because sometimes I just think about that and I want to send her like flowers or something, because she deserves it.
Oh God.
So when stuff like this happens, I am not the most pleasant person to be around.
No, you've gotten a lot better, and like now you just like will like very anxiously just look into your phone, very dramatically, just
Right.
like, I'm just on Twitter. Twitter is better than whatever the fuck is happening right now.
And that's saying something. And like sometimes when we don't have cell signal, I'll just like go through photos, like something, just anything. I'm just like, all right. And it's so funny because our cat, Ani, likes to sit up front with us, and she's taken to doing that lately, and it's so cute. But she just likes being on laps. She doesn't often like to look out the window, so she'll like tuck her little head into my armpit if we like get onto like a rocky road or something, and I'll make fun of her for it, but then that's what I do.
Yeah, you do the exact same thing.
But anyways, I got off track. But
that's the whole podcast.
that's the whole podcast.
That's it. That's the podcast. Is just getting off track.
That's the podcast.
That's what makes it so great.
That's what makes it special.
But yeah. On that same trip, I don't know what it was, but like something made the Prius's ABS go out. But like not constantly, just every once in a while.
Just intermittently, it would just randomly.
And if you don't know, the ABS is the automatic braking system that makes it
Anti-lock brake system.
anti-lock, whatever. But it makes it so that it's easier for you to brake.
Yeah.
And so, like, suddenly it was very difficult to brake. It's very icy. We're like...
And it always seemed to happen at, like, the worst places. Like, There was, I think my least favorite one was we were driving through Utah, and
Fuck Utah.
I know, like we had like no cell signal, and the roads were like super icy, and there's like all this snow going around, and then like ABS goes out, and I'm just like, all right, guess I'll die.
That's it. This is where I die.
This is how I go, you know.
God, I hope that like your mom doesn't hear this episode.
I know, right?
Oh my god, she would kill us.
I know. This is why the podcast can't take off. Just what do you do for a living? You can't know.
Nothing, actually.
Nothing. I'm an accountant.
Just, I live in a van. Make up your own stories.
Whatever
oh my
that
god, you
means.
panhandle? Yeah, sure, I panhandle.
Yeah, it's fine.
Mm-hmm, that's what I do.
It's all good.
Oh, god. But yeah, because the way that your mom reacted just with us, with you starting to talk about the ladder that we made.
It's like totally fine. It handles fine, but she doesn't need to hear that.
She doesn't need to hear this.
Because we made our own like rope ladder.
Yeah.
That basically, it's a rope ladder where it's like a carabiner and like some wood and rope, like you'd see at like a summer camp or something.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started telling her about it, she was like, "Oh God, no, I don't want to know. I don't know."
Just Alex, shut the fuck up.
Alex, it's fine. No, I'm good.
Oh god. Okay, so we haven't talked about the scary shit that's happened in Rhonda, which has been most of the trip that we've been on. I hate calling it a trip because like
I know
so many people are like asking when the trip is going to be over, and
I know,
it's
right?
not.
Exactly. It's just like if both of us like go blind, maybe, but I don't know when that's gonna happen.
I mean, like, sure, it might be over someday. Like, there's not like
right, but like it's
a
an
plan
indeterminate
right now.
length of time.
It's just kind of like, yeah, we all die someday. Quit asking me when I'm gonna fucking die.
Right. It's like one of those things where it feels like every time someone asks when the trip is gonna be over, the trip gets 5 months longer.
Yeah. Literally.
I'm just like, well, now I don't want to stop. I feel like if I stop, then like you win. So
The same with people like, so you guys are married. When are you gonna have kids? You know what? You just added 5 years.
Now I'm 80. Are you happy?
Right.
Anyway,
scary stories that have happened in Rhonda.
Oh God.
One spot that we pulled up to try and spend the night. Thankfully, it was still bright enough that I could see this, because as soon as I rolled the windows down, we could smell that something wasn't right.
Oh God, this one was recent.
This one was very recent, and I want to talk about it because it isn't like a car malfunction.
Yeah, we can take a break from that.
And so like I take the dogs out, and I'm like, oh, like there's a lot of trash around here, but like it's whatever. Like I can pick it up, you know. Like I try to pick stuff up at wherever we go, and you know, hashtag leave it better. But then like Roxy gets just sniffing at something,
and that's never good.
And that's never good. And they're on leash. Like she's not just like
yeah.
You know. But she gets a whiff of something, and so I go over and I'm like, oh, is that a cat like laying down? And it was a beaver, I think, that was just deceased. And like I was just like, all right, everybody back in the van, we're going, we're done.
Yep. Like I was getting us like unpacked for the evening, you know, because sometimes because of the way that the road is, I like to like kind of get us all like battened down to move. And I was getting us all like ready for the night, and he's like, don't get too comfortable.
I think I was still outside, and I was over there, and I just like hollered.
Yeah.
I was like, don't get too comfortable in there.
don't, no, mm-mm.
I'm not sleeping next to dead shit.
I'm good. I am good. Oh, man. Spooky.
Spooky. Um, and then another campsite that we were at, we were just laying in bed watching TV, and someone from a nearby campsite came over, and that alone was fucking horrifying.
Hate it when that happens.
I hate it so much when someone comes up near the van and they go, knock, knock. Hello? Right. You're like, get the fuck.
Get out of here.
I'm like, no, this can't be good. Why are you talking to me? No, it's usually fine.
Yeah, most of the time it's okay.
It just made me think of that John Mulaney bit. Like, knock, knock.
Knock, knock. I say knock, knock.
Because, like, that's what people do instead of, like, because it's super horrifying to, like, have your van knocked on.
Right, and I think other, like, van and car dweller kind of people, like, know what a knock means.
Yeah.
So they try and, like, say it, and so it's just like, oh, no, it's still weird.
Yeah. Like, a million times better than someone just coming up and, like, knocking on the van, because, A, that would set Roxy off, and I would never get her to stop. But
I think the funniest thing is that I don't know if I'm misremembering this, but I think that, like, a knock is so terrifying that even the one time that we were asked to move from a spot by, like, a cop, I don't even think he knocked.
No, he didn't.
I think he was just like, hey.
No.
But anyway.
Hey, you guys can't be here.
You can't be here.
And that's on being white.
Yeah.
Anyways. Guy comes over from another campsite and says knock knock, and we're like, oh, what's up?
Hey.
And he's like, talking about how from his campsite he can see that across the nearby highway there's been a fire started, and it's like going, and it's spooky. Everything ended up okay. It never spread it over to us, but
yeah, like, this was coming off of, like, we had just been through Montana, which is, like, where a lot of the really bad fires had been this year. I mean, there's really bad fires everywhere this year and last year. We live in a climate hellscape, which is the real scary story. But it's one of those things where I think we were in Washington, and
oh yeah, we were.
So, like, my nerves had finally calmed down from being like, all right, everything's on fire in Montana, and I'm really nervous about, you know, traveling through there. And we don't sleep in Idaho if we can help it, because it's Idaho.
Yeah.
And so we'd, like, gotten back to Washington, and I was like, all right, it should be cool now. And then this fucking guy comes by, and it's just like, yeah, so I saw a forest fire. And I'm like, God damn it. Found us.
It followed us.
It followed us.
But yeah, like, he was super sweet, and
yeah, like he was a nice
cool
little, like, sweet weirdo.
A very sweet little weirdo. Which is so many of the people that we've met.
Oh yeah.
It's just, wow, you are just such a sweet little weirdo.
Oh
and
yeah.
All I can hope is that they are saying the same thing about us.
Oh yeah. We're sweet little weirdos.
But a fire being that close to your home is super scary, and, like, just having to, like, look it up on the internet and be like, is this something I should be worried about? Do they have it under control?
So, like, fine. And luckily, like, some helicopters and stuff were able to come in and kind of nip it in the bud, so it ended up being all right. But it was like, what's going on over there? What's happening? Do not like that. Not a fan.
All right, you want to give them one last story before we say goodbye?
Yeah.
I don't know why I said goodbye like that.
Goodbye. I feel
Goodbye, farewell.
another not so scary story, but it's fun to joke about it being a scary story, is that I feel like the fact that we visited Indiana once for a few weeks has kind of given both of us a little bit of a yeehaw accent. And I kind of love it.
We went back home and it just rubbed off on us real
Right.
hard.
Right, like traveling back to like the Midwest, and like going through, like the Great Plains area and everything, and like you go through all the like cowboy shit, and it's just like you kind of just pick up things sometimes.
Yeah, that is super fair. I think it'll be really interesting to like see how our accents change.
Yeah.
Because I think that being from the Midwest, like there's obviously like a Midwest accent,
Oh yeah.
but like I think that, you know, being from Indiana specifically, and Indiana being the quote unquote crossroads of America,
Right.
like we have accents from like all over. Like it's like
Right.
its own accent, but like it's
Yeah.
weird.
Like it's interesting because people will talk about the Midwest accent, and I feel like it's almost like a little like Wisconsin,
Yeah,
or
it's
like
a lot more
Minnesota
Wisconsin,
kind
Minnesota.
of. But like I feel like Indiana is a little bit more twang-y, and like not as much of like a slow Southern kind of twang, but like almost like a quick twang, and it's weird. But then it's funny because I'll like take like a dialect test or whatever, and it's like, yeah, I feel like you're from Santa Rosa, California, and I've never been there, but I watch TV, so
Right.
But then like every once in a while the twang happens, and I'm just like, oh, all right. And I feel like coming back out west after being back home for a little while is just like, oh. Like you extra notice it.
Right. Just being like, oh, I sound real fucking yeehaw.
Oh, I'm yeehaw.
Anyways, last scary story
Oh yeah.
that I
Right.
want to tell, that I think is like, it was horrifying and also like really fucking cool all at the same time. Was very shortly after we got Rhonda.
Oh yeah.
We were at just this little intersection. Like it was a four-way stop, like very little. And it comes to be our turn, and I go, and she doesn't, and she just fully fucking dies.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, cool. This fucking sucks.
Love it.
And so, like, I tell you to get out and, like, direct traffic, and, like, I try and, like, figure out something. And after a minute of doing that, I was just like, all right, we gotta move her. We gotta, like,
Just try and push, I guess.
like, try and push. And you start pushing, and then all of a sudden, a lady comes up and, like, parks her car, runs out, and like starts helping push, and then like a clown car, a group of teenage
Oh my
boys
gosh.
all like gets out of this other car.
Think about that. Like I don't think they like park the car or anything. Like they're just stopped at the same intersection.
Yeah.
And they just all get out at the same time. Like I'm like, is this like a sports team or something that was like visiting? Because there was like a decent amount of them, and they just all like fucking help us push the car. Because like me and the one lady were able to kind of get it going. Mostly her, I'm sure, because she's like, we'll probably talk about it a little bit later or something, but she was like in the military, so she's actually strong. But then like this whole like group of dudes just comes over and just moves the van with us like it's nothing, and then just like runs back and gets in their car, and it's just like,
Bye, thank you.
Goodbye.
Yeah, because it was really funny for me because like Rhonda's so big that you can't like push and steer at the same time. So I'm just like sitting and steering in the front seat,
Yeah.
and like all of a sudden I feel her just like lurch. And I was like,
Did
oh
she
shit.
start?
And like I don't think that I saw anybody else help. Like I knew that like
Yeah.
obviously
Something had to have happened.
and then like I get out and I like go ahead and and you just I go and like talk to you and you're like a fucking clown car of teenage boys just got out and but it ended up being that like the starter just went kapooey and I replaced it right there on the side of the
Yeah.
road. And she's been pretty much good ever since. Like we've had some
Yeah.
other issues. She's a 97 van,
We
Dodge
had the
van, so
funniest issue happen that I still am reeling from, which is that
mm,
like she was acting up in like the weirdest way where like she cuz since then she hadn't really had any issues with losing power for a really long time.
mhm.
And then all of a sudden she kind of was, and like
Mhm.
there were these weird things that would kind of happen, like like her kind of lights would flicker a little
Mhm.
bit. Her speedometer started doing this weird thing where it just would like wobble and not
Yeah, it was just like spinning.
just spinning, like just full haunting kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Like she didn't want to start sometimes, and it was just like, oh god, what's going on? I do not like this. And we did everything from like replace the spark plugs to
Mhm.
uh Nick replaced the like speed sensor to
Mhm.
we were trying all kinds of stuff, and we ended up replacing the battery, and for a minute that was like, yeah, this is the thing, and I think
Mhm.
that was like half of it. But then but then we were trying to leave to go somewhere, and all of a sudden out of nowhere she just like dies, and we're like, oh shit, what's going on? What's I guess we're gonna go pop the hood and get up underneath and see what's happening.
Mhm.
And we go to disconnect the battery, and half of the battery cable to the positive terminal is just out,
No,
like,
it was the negative.
or the negative. It's just out.
Yeah.
Like the cable had like kind of frayed itself out of the
Yeah,
like
it just like wiggled out.
it just wiggled out, and so all we had to do to like fix all these issues that had been plaguing us for like God knows how long was just like crimp the wire a little bit and like reattach it and like screw it
Mhm.
back into the the little thingy and put it back onto the battery, and she's been like great ever
Yeah.
since. And I still feel like I'm going to wake up at any given moment because I'm just like, really, really, because I'm so used to cars where it's like, you look up the thing and you get like listicles that are like, yeah, 10 signs that your alternator is going bad or whatever. And
Mhm.
it's just like, okay, I guess it's probably the alternator. And then that's what it is. But like, nobody tells you that shit's going to happen.
Mhm.
They're never
Well,
like,
and
oh, yeah, it's probably your battery cable looking like it's been eaten by like a small mouse that's lived in there for 10 years. Like, I.
yeah. Yeah, well, and the other thing with replacing the battery is that um I think that a lot of it was the battery and then like a little bit of it was that cable. Like obviously that last time that
Mm-hmm.
we had issues it was 100% the cable, but
Oh, yeah, and even the battery, like, the only way that we even thought to replace it, because like,
yeah, that's what
almost
I was
none of the
gonna
symptoms were matched up with, like, the listicles about batteries,
mhm.
was just because of some random like forum post that I found when I like tried googling everything all together. It was some like random thing that was like a whole diatribe some guy had written up that was basically a lot of the exact same things we'd gone through, and he was just like, yeah, and I did this thing and this thing and this thing like we had done, and then he was like, yeah, and it was like one of the like cells in the battery got messed up, and then I replaced it and it was fine. And I was like, Nick, before we do more stuff, I kind of want to try this because I don't know, it's a shot in the dark, but it could be something.
Because the reason that we hadn't thought to replace the battery beforehand is it tested perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
We go to Valvoline and get our oil changes on time, and like every time that they do the oil change, they test the battery, they show you the chart, and they're like, it's working perfect. And like there were a couple of times where I would be like, okay, yeah, maybe it's the battery, and I would take it out and I would take it into AutoZone and I'd be like, please test this. And they'd be like, it's perfect. And
I guess it's fine.
yeah. And then, like, finally you found that article that was, like, the exact thing where it was just like, yeah, it'll show up as being perfect unless you do this very specific test.
Exactly.
That, like, nobody is gonna
like,
think
it's like
to
not
do.
holding it or like something
Yeah.
like that.
And, like, but one way that you can test it without, like, getting whatever the tool is to, like, try a new battery. And so I was just like, all right,
Right.
whatever, like,
Fine.
let's just go get a new battery and see what happens. And, like, I'll just return the battery if it doesn't work. I put this new battery in, and she starts up, and she goes, "Vrrrng!" And I was like, oh my god.
No way. You know?
So, cars are stupid sometimes.
Cars are stupid, is the moral of the story. But also, the other moral of the story is that it's fun to talk like my grandpa. And I think that's the other thing that's made the twang come back, is that it's kind of fun to feel like an old man that knows something about cars.
It is.
Uh,
But yeah, we've been through a lot of scary stuff this last year. You know, barring the, like, real scary stuff that I don't want to talk about. But it's been...
Sorry about the train.
Yeah, whatever. But it's been a lot of fun, and I'm really, really glad to have the podcast back.
Me too. Because there's also, there's been a lot of, like, fun, weird, wonderful things that have happened too. Like, I don't know, I kind of want to do a quick lightning round.
Okay.
Just to be like, I promise we're fine.
Yeah.
Because I think, like, doing scary stories is really fun, but I also don't want people to tune in and be like, do you need money? Do you need, like, help or a place to be? Like, one of the places that we went most recently was, like, a community center in California, and our first night that we spent there was, like, an adult marching band and, like, a little, like, color guard or, like, a dancing troupe or something that I got done with work, and almost immediately afterwards, they just, like, start playing music and, like, coming through, and, it's a place where a lot of people, both local and not, kind of, like, go to stay and, like, sleep in their vehicles and stuff. And it almost kind of felt like, even though they're definitely not just doing it for you, it kind of felt like they were doing it for us.
Yeah.
And it was so fun. And that was, like, probably one of my favorite places that we've been, because it's like you feel part of the place that you're in.
Right.
Like, they've got, like, little fairs and stuff that they do there, and all the, like, there's a lot of, like, sports games that happen, and it's like, you feel like you're there and, like, in the community and just hanging out with people, and it's really wonderful. And there were so many people there with cats. You got to meet cats. You met more cats than I did, but I liked knowing the cats were there. And I just think about the marching band a lot of the time.
Yeah,
I think that was so, like, magical.
Yeah, the little marching band was really cool, and, like, getting to sleep right next to the ocean, and, like, just, like, overlooking beaches, and actually getting to go home and visit family, and...
Oh my god, yeah.
Can I help you?
Getting honked at by a stranger.
Right. I'm gonna be so mad if that doesn't show up in the recording.
Right.
Because then it's just like I just stopped for no reason. But anyways, like, there's been so much cool stuff. I mean, like, the dogs are flourishing, getting to be outside so often. Ani's
They're
having a
feral
great
in
time.
a good way.
Yeah, I think all of us are feral in a good way.
Oh yeah.
Like, Ani's having a great time, like, just getting to sunbathe all day.
She's so cute. Like, she's so snuggly now. Oh my god. She is my perfect little angel.
Yeah.
I would kill and die for her.
Yeah. But, yeah. I think it's time for lunch.
Yeah, it's about time for lunch. Wherever you are, even if you're listening to this to go to sleep, go eat lunch.
This is your time now.
Yeah. This is your reminder to eat if you haven't eaten. That's important.
Your reminder to drink if you haven't drank. Water.
Yeah. Water.
Water.
Oh God. Hydrate so you don't dehydrate. But yeah.
And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.